Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to WXR. Today, I am your host, The Fallen Angel. With me, I have James Phoenix.
Yo.
I have Marcus Shadow.
I'm hardcore!
I have Chris the Mole.
Hello.
And I have this stay-at-home gamer, Richter Hammer.
Hello.
I also think he's a dad somewhere.
Probably, but who cares?
Somewhere.
I knew I'd screw it up somehow.
Yeah, I think most of us are stay-at-home gamers because we all game at home.
He's just the better one.
True. Nice.
So, ladies and gentlemen, we are all here today to discuss a championship evaluation. This championship evaluation, the Hardcore Championship. We're going to go through pros, cons, whether we think the 24/7 rule was good enough or not, so on and so forth. So I will throw it over to Mr. Phoenix to begin. Pros, cons, did you like it, didn't you?
Personally, I missed that title. I always really liked the hardcore title. It was always one of my favorites. Simply because when the title was defended, when matches occurred regarding that title, you never really knew what was going to happen, and they were some of the more exciting matches, simply by virtue of anything could happen. Anything could be used as weapons. It could go anywhere. You know, it could fight through the backstage area, out into the crowd, out into a helicopter in Times Square. It could go anywhere. So it was always really cool to see where's it going to go, what's going to happen, who's going to get involved. Because, of course, during the era of the 24/7 rule that we're going to get to, anybody can get involved, so there'd be random people coming in and out of nowhere. And just the unpredictability and the wide variety of things that could happen made it a very entertaining matches to watch when the title was involved. I'm not totally crazy about the look of the belt itself. I understand why it was, it's a broken world title. It's got the little hardcore tape over it. That was pretty cool. But overall, I think it was a good title, and I wish they'd bring back something like that.
Very good. We'll go with Chris next.
When they introduced the belt, and basically they gave it to, I think it was Mankind was the first one, where Vince just handed it to him, and it was all broken stuff. It worked because it gave guys like Mankind and stuff a chance to shine in a title division, which they didn't really belong in the other ones. Because I'm going to say, like, people like Crash Holly, Hardcore Holly, people like fucking Mick Foley. I'm sorry, as much as like Mick Foley's been world champion, I prefer the ones that could wrestle in the world championship. The Intercontinental title's meant to be the belt for the wrestlers. This was for guys that couldn't really wrestle, but could make weapons look good. So it gave them a new division built around these guys. Giving it to Mick Foley was fucking genius to start it off, because he's pretty much, as people always call him, the king of hardcore and shit like that, because, well, it's Mick Foley. It worked. I thought it got ridiculously stupid later on with the 24/7 rule. I thought that diluted the effect of the title and soiled its good name, but the solid principle behind giving guys a format to just go out there, go all out, and hey, this is a guy that can take bumps, let's showcase him. It worked. For the era, it worked.
Yeah, it did. I might as well go next. The Hardcore Championship, whether it had the 24/7 rule or not, I really did like it. And as you said, it gave other wrestlers a purpose of actually being in the company, because they weren't in the title frame picture. Do we want to stop, or?
No. Continue with your thought. Continue with your thought, Fallen Angel.
I shall. So yeah, it was just really good to see the wrestlers that just weren't in that major title picture, have something to look towards and go for. Of course, once they did bring the 24/7 rule in, it did become a little bit of a joke. But overall, the championship was, and it was an interesting championship. Let's put it at that. Mr. Marcus Shadow.
Well, I really did like the hardcore title. I actually kind of liked the look of it. I liked it for the reasons you guys said about giving other like non-peer wrestlers a forum from which they could showcase what their strengths and talents were. I actually liked the 24/7 rule during its inception, like when it first came out, when they first came out with the 24/7 rule. I thought it was kind of cool, and because I think they did it at like a pay-per-view, if I recall. I don't know, that's my vivid memory of the 24/7 rule is a pay-per-view where it was constantly defended throughout the night with people like walking around backstage. You'd have like the Hurricane and Mighty Molly and stuff like this. Whack, whack. Fucking doors in faces. You have like, trash cans or whatever they could get their hands on backstage. It was friggin' awesome. But then after that, when they kept the 24/7 rule around, yeah, it got kind of ridiculous. And I think the 24/7 rule went on for a little too long, and that's when it got ridiculous. I think the 24/7 should have been a novelty thing. It should have been maybe like a one night only type thing and then abolish it like the next night on Raw or something. But for what it was, I thoroughly enjoyed it. And I wish they would bring the hardcore title back, but I can kind of understand why. Because a lot of what made the hardcore championship and that division special, they've kind of either toned down or outright banned for good reasons. So the hardcore title, I don't think would work as well now as it did back then.
Yep.
Yep. You know what belt would work for that nowadays?
What's that?
Just to throw that out there temporarily. I'm just going to say it once, as much as I hate the look. They need to make Zack Ryder's Internet Championship belt actual title and only show his matches on and only show the matches for it as exclusives on the WWE Network, like you used to have the television titles that were only shown on TV. That would be the belt that's only shown on the network. It would totally fucking work for guys that you don't normally see every week.
True.
That would actually be pretty awesome. I'd be good for that.
Isn't that technically the entirety of NXT at this point?
That is the entirety of NXT, but I mean, this one would be ones from the WWE roster, because NXT is a developmental thing. It's not meant to be treated the same way as dark matches and stuff.
True. That could be interesting.
So, Mr. Richter Hammer, what are your thoughts on the Hardcore Championship?
I really like the Hardcore Championship. I like hardcore matches just because what reinvigorated my interest in wrestling was old school ECW many, many years ago. So I really liked the hardcore matches. I thought they were entertaining and fun. And yeah, the look of the belt, it didn't look as prestigious, but it made sense. And I like the idea of the 24/7 defense. I think it's kind of cool that it plays in with, how there's very little rules with the hardcore, like division, whatever you want to call it, matches. But the only problem is it did get very much out of hand because you kind of knew that, it made it more predictable in trying to make it unpredictable. Because you knew someone would interfere, you knew it would be over in like 2 seconds or, various things where there would be like tons of people going for it. But even though there were a couple awesome surprises, like good old to the Hurricycle Wham. So I can agree that it would be cool to have the 24/7 as like special events, like not every day, because then it wouldn't be as bad. But the idea of it, I think, was really sound. And as much as, yes, I would love that belt to come back, there's no way it is just because of how WWE is now. Admittedly, I don't even think they should bring it back, because besides the fact that they're not going to, just because I think that how WWE is, they've kind of changed enough where I don't think they would even really use it that much. I mean, hell, they don't even use the frickin' cruiserweight division anymore. So, and I'd rather that come back first.
That's not true. They use the cruiserweight division. They're guys to show off that Ryback and Cena can lift multiple people.
That's true. Do they get a belt for that?
They
should
have their
that.
purposes. Don't say they don't have
belt.
merit.
They should have that. The I got lift. Like they should have a tag team belt for people that get lifted up by Ryback and Cena.
Yes.
You know, I have to say too, one thing that I really liked about the hardcore title is it did one thing that has only happened, I think, once or twice in the history of the WWE, and with the 24/7 rule, it brought around another title that a diva could win that wasn't the women's title.
Yes.
And you don't see that a lot in WWE. I mean, that's, to this day, one of my most vivid memories of that 24/7 period, like Richter said. Do the Hurta cycle. Wham! Randy Molly's a hardcore champion. What the hell?
Yeah, that was one of the things I did not like with the 24/7 rule, which I'll go into when we go on to the 24/7 rule.
So yes, speaking of the 24/7 rule, I've actually been going through and looking at the history of the hardcore title. The most times it's changed in one night so far I found is about 6, and that's on about 3 separate occasions.
Wait, you've been looking stuff up for this? Jim, he took your job!
You took my job!
So in Hartford, Connecticut, was it the 6th of May back in 2012, Stephen Richards started the night as hardcore champion. Throughout the night, the title went through Bubba Ray Dudley, Raven, Just Incredible, Crash Holly, Trish Stratus, and then went back to Stephen Richards.
That's
in
6
one
title
night.
changes. Not as big as the 8 in one night shot, but still big.
Yeah, well, that was only 6, the pay-per-view. Let's see, where is it? In Toronto, Ontario, Canada, the 17th of March in 2002. It started off with Maven as the champion.
Maven.
Spike Dudley, Hurricane, Mighty Molly, Christian, and then it went back to Maven.
That's so Maven.
So yes.
I will say that's the one thing I didn't really like that much about the 24/7 rule is the fact that, as Richter pointed out, they made it predictable because you knew that the title was going to change hands multiple times in one night, you knew at the end of the night it was going to end up with the person who had it to begin with. And it's like, no. No. Don't give it back to him. At least not that night. Maybe have him win it like the next Raw or whatever, but not in the same night.
Well, there has been instances where that hasn't happened, but it's only been like 1 or 2 changes during the night.
Mm-hmm.
Like it starts with Raven, Kate Quick took it off him, Crash Holly took it off Kate Quick, then Raven took it back off Crash Holly. But it wasn't until the next night, I'm going to guess it was the Raw, that Kate Quick got it back. So, but then it changed hands again during that night. So,
I'm gonna say, yeah. Now we're talking about the 24/7 rule. I will say, yeah, I hated that rule. I really hated that rule. I understand, like, what's his name? Marcus mentioned it gave women another belt to go for, with the guys, which is kind of cool. But look how they won it. The Intercontinental Championship. China was like, no, I'm a woman. We can do everything as great as men. Look at us go. The women who won the hardcore title won it by, like, sneak attack to, like, a pan to the head and shit. It's like, the fuck? And when, like, Mick Foley and stuff had it, it was like, this belt was designed, or it felt like I mentioned, it was to give the hardcore people a venue, basically, or an output to go and show what they could do and do it in an amazing way and show, okay, we're going to earn our title, but we're going to earn it in a way that the other ones wouldn't, which was cool. Then when they brought in the 24/7 rule, and you had people like fucking like Crash Holly getting a massage from Ivory, then suddenly she attacked him with a plant pot and tried to take the title off him, and it's like, what the that's not prestigious at all. Doing that is not earning the victory. That goes into the problem I have with like a load of the Money in the Bank cash-ins. The first time, fair enough, it was kind of cool. Even the second time Edge did it and stuff, it was like, I wish you did kind of earn it at this point. The second they do that, it means every person who won the title under the 24/7 rule in a 24/7 situation didn't fucking deserve to call themselves a champion, in my opinion, and that belittled what the belt was. It went from being something to show off the hardcore people into being basically the Attitude Era's version of the Santino Marella joke bits. And I don't like that. That felt... No, I did not like that at all. I hate it. I hated that.
Yeah. So the 24/7 rule was introduced by Crash Holly, surprisingly enough, which said the belt was to be defended at all times as long as a referee was present, allowing for many comic relief moments, such as the belt changing hands while the champion was asleep.
Yeah, and he remembers him chasing Crash Holly through like the ball pit and shit.
Yeah, the headbangers.
Yep.
Chasing Crash Holly through an amusement park in Brooklyn.
Yeah, which I say that's pretty much, in my opinion, something at the times, which may be, I don't know if people agree with this or not, but because it had the word hardcore in it, and it was like, oh yeah, they're chasing him through because he's hardcore, and he's going into a ball pit because he's hardcore, and he has the hardcore championship. People were like, yeah, we're going to eat this shit up because it has the word hardcore, nom 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 nom. But if you were to do that shit now, like imagine if Great Khali chased fucking, I don't know, Santino Marella through a ball pit. I guarantee you fans nowadays would be like, boo, that sucks, that's not like my Attitude Era. It's like, you had this shit. That 24/7 rule, it was, no. it was bad stuff. People just overlooked how bad that stuff was.
So four women have held the Hardcore Championship. Molly Holly, Trish Stratus, Terry Runnels, and Godfather's Ho.
Wow.
That just proves how shit it is.
Yeah, that's why I said I like the concept, and I think it would have worked. It would have actually worked if it had been like a one-off thing, like for one night instead of continuous thing. I think what made it a joke, and what made it just the fact that it was continuous instead of like a pay-per-view event,
I would also have to ask, which Ho?
I don't know, it just says Godfather's Ho.
Because I would I don't know why, if it's one of the Godfather's Hoes, everyone here knows which Ho I hope it was. Am I right, Rick?
That's what I was going to jokingly say.
Yeah, I wanted it to be Big Show's wife.
Yeah, it was Cynthia Lynch.
Yeah, fair enough. Like I said, I wanted it to be Big Show's wife, because I know Big Show made a comment a while back when he on one of the on a few of the DVDs of like he finally, his wife was like, no, I want to be a hoe, and he's like, you what? And she's like, on your TV show. It's like, oh, okay. And I'm like, that's fucking brilliant.
Yeah, Lynch has been working Ohio Valley Wrestling since 2012, so...
Mm-hmm. Isn't that now NXT?
No. Ohio Valley Wrestling, I believe, is linked with TNA.
Which one was I thinking of? The WWE old developmental one?
Florida Championship Wrestling.
That was the one, and they also had another one as well. It used to be...
They did have an Ohio one, yes, you are.
Yeah, I know it was something.
Yeah, but, her finishing move is the camel toe clutch.
Wow.
Nice.
That's not bad.
And I will also say...
Isn't that from Rumble Roses?
Nice. And I will also say, when we were talking about the look of the title before, I will also say, I fucking loved the look of the hardcore title. Because, I'm sorry, when you give a title to Mick Foley, a guy that's been maimed and shit with barbed wire, and you're like, this is going to reflect him, as he's going to lead the division, it's going to reflect people breaking their bodies and destroying each other. It needs to look like a fucking broken-ass title that these people taped together in like a backyard or something. It was so fucking perfect for the division. Unlike the Divas title with a fucking butterfly on the front.
Oh.
Yeah. And if you're watching this video and you don't know what the Hardcore Championship looks like, you shouldn't be watching this video.
If you're watching this video and you want to know what the hardcore title looks like, go on WWE Universe mode.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
And to be
Also,
fair, Mo,
yeah.
the Divas Championship belt actually fits for what the Divas division is right now. Because I'm sorry, but for a long time now, yeah, they value divas who look hot and sexy over divas who can actually fucking wrestle.
Yeah, that's now, but when it first came in, you're forgetting, like, when they
True.
first brought it in, you had, like, Michelle McCool winning it and shit.
True.
Which, yeah, okay, she's off fucking the dead man right now, but it's a case of, I'm sorry,
She's
Michelle
a
McCool was
necrophiliac?
yeah, she is, but she's right, Michelle McCool was fucking awesome.
Yeah,
She had a
was.
kid. We all know
Yeah,
this,
but,
right?
yes, but the problem with that was, yeah, okay, the division wasn't as bad back then, but that was also the time period where Michelle McCool won that title, and then proceeded to break it the fucking half and
That
share
was
it
the
with
women's
Layla.
title. That was the women's title she broke in half and shared with Layla.
Was it? Oh, I thought it was a Divas title.
No, the Divas one, when she won it, the Divas one stayed intact and shit, and the Divas title was actually, for as much as I hated the look of it, when they first introduced it, it was actually pretty prestigious. Now the division's a joke, but
Yeah.
when you had people like that winning it, it seemed credible.
Yeah,
Hell, there was even times where it overlapped the women's title in which one was more credible at the time it first came out, because of who the champions were.
Fair
And
enough.
this is why Emma needs to win the title, and then we have Emma up against Paige, like on Raw, both the Divas champions, and actually it's the NXT Women's Championship.
And I do
Pretty
think I do think Emma's kind of cool. I think Summer Rae's better. I would see Summer Rae with the title.
And I think we're going way off topic here.
Oh well.
Hashtag evolution.
But yeah.
Why
So yeah.
is this off topic? We're talking about the divas at WWE who, once they're fired, will go off to make hardcore porn.
But yeah. So
Hashtag backdoor to China.
yeah, and I actually figured out which pay-per-view Mighty Molly won the title at. It was WrestleMania 18.
And I will say, Jim, One Night in China is still a better porno than One Night in Phoenix.
Oh. Because Phoenix made a porno? I want to see that.
Oh, we all know what you did.
And that was on a
so, yeah.
WrestleMania, Kage? Cool.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
Maven,
actually...
Maven defended the title against Goldust. After they knocked each other out with trash can lids, Spike Dudley entered and pinned Maven to win the title. Then in the backstage area, Hurricane pinned Spike for the title. Mighty Molly told the Hurricane to go to the Hurricane Cycle before knocking him out with a frying pan when his back was turned and pinning him. While looking for a safe place, Christian won the title by pinning Molly after hitting her in the head with a door. And as he was about to leave the building in a taxi, he was attacked and pinned by Maven, who regained the title and escaped in the taxi.
And I will say, I will say, I kind of missed that dude, right? Maven. I liked Maven.
He was good.
He was good at first, and I still remember him eliminating the Undertaker at the Royal Rumble. Undertaker being pissed, and
That's the only thing anybody remembers him for.
Yeah, but I'm sorry, as well as some of his other matches and winning Tough Enough and stuff like that, he had potential. He had a lot more potential than some of the other dudes around that time.
True.
Because I honestly thought they were going to build up Maven to be like the next Eddie Guerrero or Edge type character.
Yes,
I don't mean to be lying and cheating either.
Is there anything else anybody would like to say on the topic of the Hardcore Championship.
I'd like to point out, if anybody's interested, the night that it changed hands the most times in one night was actually at WrestleMania 2000, when it went through the hands of about 10 people over the course of the 13-man Hardcore Battle Royal.
Okay, but yeah, I was gonna say the only other thing I'd mention is I thought it was kind of cool they brought it back for, around the time it started, the Edge Mick Foley feud going into WrestleMania. That was kind of cool. Or with them feuding with ECW and stuff as well, kind of. That was kind of cool. It was cool when they brought it back with them and gave it back to Mick Foley once again. That was kind of cool.
True.
But since you said anything else, and then we'll be ending it. If I had to rate the belt, with the start and how it ended with the Mick Foley thing, which is kind of an awesome bookmark for the title, how it started, but then what it turned into with the 24/7 rule, I'm going to give the title about a 4 out of 10.
Wow.
Why is that a wow?
That's a really bad rating.
It was won by a frying pan to the face. It's not exactly the fucking Intercontinental Championship, you know what I mean?
Yeah, but despite that stuff, I don't think it deserves that low a rating.
Hey, like I said, I thought the conception of it and what it was for was fucking brilliant. We needed that. I just thought the 24/7 rule diluted it and turned it into such a joke that it was bad. That was just my honest opinion.
Fair enough.
Anyone else?
Like a rating, you mean? Or?
Yeah, like final thought and rating.
Yeah, I still liked it. I did have some ups and downs. Didn't like how they retired it, but I'd give it an 8 out of 10.
Ooh, which retirement?
I just remember Mankind had it, and he was like sharing it with Edge or some dumb shit. I don't know.
Oh yeah, when they brought it back.
Yeah,
enough.
for like a week or something.
Yeah, which, like I said, I thought that was a cool way to bookmark it, but yeah, you're right, it wasn't the best thing they could have done with the title.
I'll rate the title a 7 out of 10. I really did like the title. It is quite a product of its time. Because as I said earlier, I don't think it would really work that well now. They'd have to modify it a lot and basically make it not the hardcore title. But I still think it's a really good title, and it's a way to highlight specific types of superstars. And I did like the concept of the 24/7 rule. I didn't like what it turned into. So 7 out of 10. Mr. Phoenix?
Jim? Yeah.
Yeah, I can agree with a 7, I think. 7.5 maybe. It was a good title. And a lot of unpredictability to the company, which I think was something important. You wanted to be surprised. You wanted to be shocked that, oh my god, I didn't see this person coming or that person coming, whatever. So it did add that factor. And it made for a lot of exciting matches, too. Exciting moments. The nights when you had the hardcore title being repeatedly defended throughout the course of the night, and it was always fun to see that sort of thing. I do agree it got a little silly near the end. It went a little too far, I agree. But I do believe that having that type of a concept is something that could benefit WWE again in the modern day, especially if they're going to unify the mid-card titles. Having something like that's a title that's kind of a throwaway title that could be defended in matches that people tune in not necessarily to see the title, but at least see those types of matches, and put guys like Dolph Ziggler or Damian Sandow that you don't want to use, put them in matches to those kind of titles. It can be pretty good.
So then back to our host.
By the way, I did want to ask real quick. Did we want to at all mention the WCW Hardcore title, or
no? Because we're evaluating the WWE Hardcore title.
We were specific on that. Okay.
Yeah, just like we weren't suddenly going to mention all the ECW titles, which were what Hardcore really was, not a woman hitting someone in the face with a pan.
True.
All right. To wrap it up, I'm going to end the evaluation with a
song
7 out of 10.
Oh.
Overall, it was an interesting title, throughout its evolution. When it got the 24/7 rule, it wasn't bad, it wasn't good, it was sort of somewhere in the middle, just depending on how many changes they made a night and how they actually went about doing it. But overall, I did like the championship, and I don't think it should be brought back. And hopefully they don't bring it back. So that was my final thoughts, and I guess we're at the end. So thank you everyone for being here, and thanks to everyone for sitting through and listening to us, if you made it this far. So until next time, this has been WXR.